the other end. Here comes Ingram. Long.
You're good. All right, welcome everybody here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. Apologies there for a little bit of a mix-up. It's raining here, so we're all kind of thrown off our game a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a fantastic Saturday. I know we're not soaking wet just yet, but I'm, of course, Andrew Valentin. I'll be hosting the show today, and, of course, next to me is the wonderful Mr. America himself. It's Tom McKinney. Tom, you are dressed up in red, white, and blue like there's no tomorrow. How you doing today, man?
Doing good.
Doing real good?
Yeah.
Bet on their horses a little bit there?
A little bit.
Happy Preakness. It is Preakness, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Preakness.
happy Preakness, everybody.
3 weeks from today will be the Belmont.
Yeah, who did you bet on for the Preakness?
All the horses.
All the You're not losing this time?
Nope, not losing.
All right, that's understandable. I mean, who wants to lose again? I mean, seriously, who knows what's going to happen next time? My God, with all the things that have gone down with that horse, from suspending the rider to the owner challenging for $20 million to a bunch of the racers, I mean, it's crazy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot we're going to be pouring in here today. We've got, obviously, some NBA talk we're going to be going through. We've also got some hockey stuff we're going to get into, which, fair warning on that section when we get to it in the back half. It might get a little loud, but we'll see how it goes. But it bears to be a very interesting show. Tom, you ready to do this?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, well, let's get this started, ladies and gentlemen. The first thing we're going to be talking about here, it's the NBA. Now, obviously, we've already talked about the NBA draft, and we'll be talking about that here in a little bit. But we didn't really get a chance to touch on what's going on with the Lakers organization. I did it myself when I was able to do a solo thing. Talked about the whole coaching situation. Well, if you guys don't know, the Lakers have solved their coaching issue. They have hired – well, that is the question that will be asked. But Frank Vogel, former Indiana Pacers head coach and – former Orlando Magic coach this past year, is now officially been hired as the new head coach of the Lakers. Now, Tom, I know, obviously, you know, when it comes to the Lakers, we're here in Chicago. You know, what do we care about L.A.? Certainly. But, I mean, for what we know for Frank Vogel, I mean, he's not the worst coach in the road. You don't think he's the coach?
No, it's Jason Kidd.
So yes, if you guys don't know, Jason Kidd is also on the staff as well alongside Frank Vogel. So you say Jason Kidd's the coach.
Yeah.
Okay, what leads you to say that?
Because it's who all of management wanted, and they finally now get their wish. They'll have Vogel will be there, 3 years? 2 years is what his contract is.
Yeah, it's a 3-year contract.
And they'll probably get rid of him 2 years in.
Okay,
and
so
he'll be gone.
So you're saying then that Jason Kidd's been brought in to kind of be the coach in waiting, essentially.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, all right. I mean, that's a fair evaluation. I mean, look, when it came to Frank Vogel, to be honest, I mean, look, he's a good coach for what he is, but he's barely above 500. I mean, he just has 300 wins, but he's got 291 losses, I believe it is, to compare with it. So, I mean, it's not spectacular. I mean, he's above 500 in playoffs, but it's 31-30 in the playoffs. You know, I mean, it's tough to say if Frank Vogel is going to be the answer because, look, the Lakers issue goes way beyond the coaching, right? I mean, there is a huge central problem that has happened with L.A. because, I mean, you look at their whole situation, right? Magic Johnson says, I want to fire Luke Walton and Rob Pelinka, right? And then Magic Johnson, Jeannie Buss says, no, that can't happen. So Magic Johnson says, okay, then I'm out. Then you've got.
No, he didn't say he was out. He just up and left.
Right. Yeah. He pretty much just said, "Hey, thanks for the opportunity. I'm out." Basically, and he's just gone. So Jeannie Buss says, "All right, Luke, you can stay." And Luke says, "No, I'm going to go to Sacramento." And then they go, "Oh, okay. So what do we do now?" Okay, Monty Williams, you're the guy. No, I'm going to go to Phoenix. Then they try to get to Tyronn Lue.
No, I don't want
Tyronn Lue. Yeah. I don't want it. You know what? I'm keeping my options open because he wanted 5 years apparently, and they were only going to give 3. They go through a plethora of other coaches in Denver and Portland. Obviously, they try to talk to Edwin Messina from San Antonio, who for like the past 5-6 years, everybody says he should be a head coach, and yet nobody wants to hire him.
He doesn't want to be one.
I don't think so either.
On top of that, you can come. We'll switch coaches. You know what? I'll take Vogel.
Really?
Yeah, I don't want Boline or whatever.
Boylan.
I don't care.
It's fine. No, yeah, I would take Vogel over Boylan. Are you kidding me? At least I can see success in Vogel. I can't see it with Boylan. I mean, that's a big issue right there.
Yeah.
I mean, Boylan has never been in this sort of thing. And after what you talked about last Wednesday, I mean, I mean, I'm not shocked by it because obviously
let LeBron go suffer a little bit more. Makes me happy.
Well, it's obvious he didn't go to L.A. to win another championship.
What do you mean? He wants to bring it back to the good old days.
Oh, shut up. He doesn't want to bring it back to the good old days of the Lakers. You and me both know the reason why he went to L.A.
But he thinks he can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think he also thinks if he waves his hand over everything, it turns to gold. You know, I mean, he probably thought
a joke. He'll never be the Jordan of this era.
Well, that's the thing too that I've been wondering about LeBron is, do you think he's done chasing Jordan's ghost as a player? I mean, is it one of those things?
He was done when he decided he was leaving Cleveland the first time around.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
Jordan won all his championships with one team.
Very true. Very true. And you've only won one championship for that team.
And Jordan only went to 2 teams. You've gone to 3 teams.
Yeah.
And the second team really doesn't even count because he was done at that point anyways.
Right. But he was still playing well even at that point.
It was just a publicity stunt for the Wizards at that time.
Yeah. Well, because I was talking with somebody, and I've heard this before too, that I think he's done trying to chase Jordan as a player. I think he's now trying to chase the guy as a businessman. Right? I mean, that's the reason why he goes to L.A., right? You go to L.A. because you want to be a producer. You want to get your name out there. You want to be more entwined with what Clutch Sports is doing. You won't. Eventually, he's going to put himself, I think, in an ownership group, like maybe for like the Seattle franchise that maybe try to come back or something, you know, and try to be like, look, I'm the hero. See, I brought basketball back to Seattle, you know, all that kind of stuff.
And you're not going to make it work because you don't know how to run a basketball.
Yeah. Well, look, he's
gonna Mario Lemieux this. He's gonna buy the team and then play for the team.
It's possible. It's really possible. I mean, you know, Jordan almost did that for Charlotte. So, but
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, but honestly, this whole Lakers situation is just messed up. I mean, this whole organization is just.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Who's a bigger joke right now? What organization, the Bulls or the Lakers?
The Lakers. The Lakers by far.
It's a pretty hard one.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. With the Bulls, with us, we look at it and we say, okay, it's a joke of an organization, but we're here, right? We're here, we're around the city, we hear the media a lot. Yeah. With LA, look at the media circus that has gone on with them, right? Now, here's the thing. Did they have a bad season? When you look at the grand scheme of things, like in terms of record-wise, it wasn't really bad, 37
For the Lakers?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
win
those are
LeBron
LeBron wins.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. The circus of the media that went around through what's Magic Johnson doing? Where's Rob Pelinka fit in this? How's Jeannie Buss handling all this? You know, is LeBron running the team? Is it Luke Walton? Why aren't the players connecting? What's going on with
Wasn't this the same questions that we asked when he was in Cleveland?
Pretty much.
I think we have a problem here. I think we figured it out. It's him. It's LeBron.
Well, I think he certainly.
We asked the same question when he was in Miami. We asked the same question when he went to Cleveland.
Right.
And we're asking the same question now when he went to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
There's a big problem with that man. He doesn't deal with management. So, yeah. You just become an actor, and I won't ever watch any of your movies because I think you're terrible.
You don't want to see Space Jam 2?
No, I don't.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I mean, everywhere he's gone, he has always struggled, it seems like, to get along with the coaching staff, to get along with management.
Something Jordan never had a problem with. He did in the beginning,
and even down the stretch, he had some problems with Krause. He didn't have problems with Phil Jackson.
No.
And he didn't have really problems with...
Who didn't have a problem with Krause?
Well, yeah. But, I mean, for all the issues that the guy had, from people saying that he smelled to, you know, he was dirty, he was grimy and all that stuff, he did get us the best players at the right moment. I mean, this is a man who said we could draft a top 10 center, or we could get Bill Cartwright for cheap, and... oh, by the way, then we can trade back and go get Scottie Pippen.
I mean, he didn't not do good things for us, but again, Krause is cheap, and that's the reason why D. Wade didn't want to come here earlier. I think D. Wade had a big saying, and he doesn't want to go to Chicago because of how management is.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean...
but that was just back in the day. That's what Jordan had to go through. Management got better.
Right.
Not much.
Well, I mean, to be honest, management... I don't know if it got better, but it's certainly...
it's better than where it was.
Yeah.
They honor their former players. Like, Jordan doesn't want to come back because he just doesn't want to come back.
Right.
But Pippen's come back. Horace Grant's come back. Like, the guys who struggled with when Jordan left and realized management was bad have come back and done good things for the team.
Right. Well, and then you've got like B.J. Armstrong, who's Derrick Rose's agent. He's connected still with the Bulls.
God, I hate that man.
I know. Ron Harper, he still has a large connection with the Bulls as well. Horace Grant, I mean, his sons have stayed connected with the Bulls. Obviously, Jarian played for the team for a little while. Yes, yeah. So, I mean, look, compared to these organizations, I mean, like I said, the Chicago, yes, we have troubles. We're a worse team in terms of the player-wise, but in terms of the media storm, it's all Lakers.
Let me ask you this, though. If it was like this without LeBron, would we be hearing so much about it?
Without LeBron?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Exactly. It's LeBron, and this is going to go into a second later.
I mean, I will say this. I think the big issue with the Lakers isn't really just LeBron. I think he's a good portion of it.
Well, he's the reason why we listen to it.
Right. He's the draw card now. You know, the Lakers were already kind of a big thing, but then it's like you put LeBron in there, and now it's heightened by 10 because you have, by association and by other people's pick, the best player in the NBA. I would argue Kevin Durant, but, you know, that's up for debate.
How about Curry?
Or Steph Curry. I mean, it's up for debate. I mean, I'm not going to get into that, though. But when you put a player of his caliber in that city, I mean, it gets heightened by, you know, times 10, times 20. The media is all over the place. But then when you have the circus that happens there, then it gets even worse, right? Because it's Magic Johnson. It's the guy who's supposed to be, you know, I smile and things get better.
Like,
I make it better all the time.
Let me ask you this. So
Yeah.
Sidney Crosby, that was painful to say,
Yeah.
was traded to the Kings, and the Kings were so bad. You think we would be hearing a lot about it, NHL-wise? I'm just trying to put, for other people out there who don't quite understand the significance, another athlete who is supposed to be, or even Connor McDavid.
Well, Connor McDavid is different because he's young and he can still move.
But
and
he plays in a Canadian market,
right?
And it would almost be exactly like what Grant.
And it wouldn't be, yeah. But taking a guy like Crosby or even like an Alexander Ovechkin, take those caliber of athletes, put them in a market like the LA Kings or something like that, where all of a sudden you're around the big.
Well, and I put the Kings because they've been relevant the last few years.
Right.
They've won their cups. They have their championships. So, but they're now struggling.
Right.
Now, would that be the same way? What? He knows what I'm doing. But hey, I'm still being talkative.
Yeah.
But it's just that's another aspect. Big players, star players, is what brings the media in, and that's why it's such a cluster fire in Los Angeles because of who's there. Right.
Well, with any superstar in any sport, you put them in the bigger markets, right? Because, look, the top 3 markets in the country are New York, L.A., Chicago, in that order. That's how it plays out. I mean, take it for what it is, but that's what Nealon's ranks puts them as. When you put superstars in those markets, anything that happens gets multiplied times 10, times 15, times 20, depending on the situation. So if Sidney Crosby does go to L.A. or LeBron goes to New York or, you know, whatever the case is, right? If a big superstar goes to a big media town and something big like this happens where everything's just a cluster, you know what, then then everything gets thrown up in the air and everybody's talking about it, you know, and then you're trying to pick, well, who's to blame here? Is it Jeannie Buss for not being able to have control? Is it Rob Pelinka because he's not a general manager and he was the agent of Kobe Bryant and that doesn't justify him to be a general manager? You know what you did, Rob Pelinka. Just saying, man. You know, but that's the thing is you're trying to, you know, you go to a big city, you're a superstar, and then things don't work out, and then people always want to say, well, you're the problem because you were supposed to solve it. You're supposed to be the best player in the league, so why aren't you making this team better? You know, and that's the thing. And, yeah, okay, LeBron got hurt. Yes, he did get hurt. But he was supposed to be a mentor to these younger guys.
It doesn't even matter if he got hurt.
Yeah.
Dude, I wish we had the picture right now, and I wish I could find it quick enough. But let's take a look at that picture, and it's out there somewhere, and people can find it, of him just sitting on the bench all the way at the end, and everybody else is over here, and there's the giant, 80 chairs in between them.
Right.
So what does that say?
Exactly. That says everything. And that happened after why? Because all of a sudden
Rondo's on that team, and Rondo likes to talk, and Rondo's right about a lot of things.
Right. Well, and not only that, but that also happened too. Remember, after that whole thing with AD, Anthony Davis they asked him, would you trade for Anthony Davis? And he says, yeah, I would like to play for him.
Or play with him.
Yeah, or I would like to play with him. He never said yes or anything like that. He just said, I would like to play with him. So that instantly triggers in everybody's mind, they want to trade for Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens a week later? Lakers organization says, everybody not named LeBron James is up for a trade for Anthony Davis, right? With Lonzo and Kyle Kuzma and Brandon Ingram and Josh Hart being like the key trades. Yeah. And you know what probably happened? Those young guys probably said, oh, so LeBron and the team don't want us. Well, forget them. Mm-hmm. And they probably just said, you know what? He's on his own then. He's LeBron by himself, and we're the Lakers. Yeah. So and that's what I think justifies that picture. And Walt Frazier was the one that said, you can see the dysfunction right there. He said it live on television, ladies and gentlemen. He put it out there for all of us to hear. I mean, it's honestly, when it comes to Frank Vogel, I don't know if he's going to control this ship. I know he's loud, he's brash, he's bold. He told Paul George at one point, he screamed at him, if you don't change, we're not going to the playoffs. Paul George changed, but then he just went back to the way he was. And everything, and what happened? He got fired, and he went to Orlando. Orlando was decent, but then they let him walk because they couldn't win. So I don't know if Frank Vogel's the answer. I don't think he really is. Maybe it will be Jason Kidd. Maybe you're right. Maybe they will.
2 years.
Maybe
a year and a half. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
I mean, they interviewed Jason Kidd for the head coaching job, and they said, we'll take Vogel. But you'll be on the staff.
Supposedly, all of management wanted him. Yeah. Wanted Jason Kidd, but what? LeBron's got 2 years left on his contract?
Yes, 2 years, I believe.
So it makes you wonder is, as soon as LeBron's contract's done, they let Vogel walk and Jason Kidd slides right in.
It's possible. I mean, it's tough. I mean, why wouldn't you just hire Jason Kidd, right? You would
because you don't want to have his career look bad with LeBron. Maybe they realize they messed up.
Yeah, maybe it is. Unfortunately, this just kind of speaks to where the Lakers are. I mean, we're dysfunctional, right? Chicago's dysfunctional, and we're up there in terms of being talked about as a dysfunctional team. But the Lakers are just like a full step above where we're at right now, unfortunately. I mean, and that's the problem is that you're in L.A. The media hypes you up. Look at New York. New York is a complete you-know-what. James Dolan is story. Yeah, James Dolan is on a whole nother level of a messed up owner. That guy kicked out a fan because he just said something.
He kicked out a former player.
Yeah, exactly.
And got him banned.
Yeah.
And arrested.
So, Chicago might be bad, but we're not New York and L.A. bad.
You can come play for us. I'll take any free agent right now. We're not going to get anybody because of, what's his name? Gar Forman, I think his name is.
Well, he's not even running the team anymore. Like. It's on Paxton now. Oh, yeah, and by the way, L.A., we don't want Lonzo for the 7th overall pick. You can keep that. Just adding that in. Speaking of picks, though, ladies and gentlemen, what? Oh, shut up. Big ballers on my butt. Speaking of picks, though, the NBA draft, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys don't know, we talked about the NBA lottery draft last Wednesday, but I thought it would be good if we went a little bit far deeper into this. So, obviously, there's a number of players out here, and I thought we would maybe take a look at the top 5, top 10 players on the list and kind of see maybe where they're headed, where they're going to go. So, Tom, you ready to hit this one?
Yeah, I thought I had the right one after the draft lottery, but clearly I don't.
Oh, for like the mock draft or something like that?
Yeah, I don't.
That's fine, dude.
It's from March 20th. Where they still
That's kind of a far ways away, man.
They still have the Knicks as number 1.
Oh, jeez. Heartbreakers right there, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, let's jump into it. So, yeah, the NBA draft lottery is officially over. If you guys didn't see our Wednesday show, I highly recommend after this show you guys go check it out. We had a very good in-depth conversation on what happened with that draft lottery, which our NBA analyst here, Tom McKinney, did an excellent job of voicing it out. And I mean, it was insane to see what had happened. New Orleans got the number 1 overall pick, followed by Memphis at 2, with New York at 3 and LA at 4, and then finally Cleveland at 5. And I mean, and that's your top 5. And if you're wondering where the Bulls went, we got stuck at number 7 for the second year in a row. So we'll be picking a player at number 7 we'll be taking the player at number 7 for the 3rd year in a row because for Lauri Markkanen, we traded for the 7th overall pick. So, but it'll be interesting. So the number 1 pick is New Orleans. Now, this is.
Let's just skip that one. We already know who's going.
Well, no, because this is interesting because everybody's bringing up some good points here on this because. The moment that pick gets made, the report was that Zion Williamson got rushed out by his agent because he had reportedly told his agent he would rather be in New York, which, I mean, makes sense. You want to be in the Mecca. Biggest market there. I mean, why not? The guy's going to be a huge product then. But honestly, would you consider going back to Duke?
Yeah, especially because there's talks that NCAA is actually going to start paying their players.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Wait another year. That's a possibility.
Risk injury, though. That's the big problem.
That's a very big concern, certainly. But, I mean, look, he only had the one issue with the shoe that blew out, right? I mean,
but what happens if that happens again and he tears his ACL?
True. Very true. What's that do to his value? Certainly. But I think it is worth examining, right? Because you say to yourself, hey, look, I'm the number one pick.
Well, no, he didn't sign an agent.
No, he's not with an agent, or rather his, what do you call him, advisor, right?
I don't think he has an advisor because I don't think you're allowed to have anything like that. I think it was like a brother or something who's like, let's go.
Oh, okay.
Before the media starts going, are you excited to be in New Orleans? He wanted to get him out before he said something wrong.
All I had seen was that he had said something to somebody that said he'd prefer to be in New York, which I get. But the whole thing is like, New Orleans, I get it. Look, New Orleans is a great place. Don't get me wrong.
It's a football city.
It is. It's football. And it's got a little bit of baseball tendencies to it. They do like their baseball down there. But basketball is on the lower level, right? I mean, the players they've had in the past, I mean, Pete Maravich, Shaquille O'Neal, Ben Simmons, that's it. And it was all colleges. They have really had nothing, right? I mean, the Hornets had Chris Paul, but that was only, I mean, at the end of it.
He was in a movie.
That's right. But at some point, Chris Paul got upset and he left because he was tired of losing. He was tired of carrying the organization. So
and that's what's going on with Anthony Davis.
Right. And now Anthony Davis wants out. And so do you want to take in Zion, who, by the way, could just become another Anthony Davis if you put him in New Orleans, right? 8 years, and then he's like, I want out because I'm sick and tired of carrying the organization.
Yeah. Not even. Maybe it's sooner.
Yeah. So it's possible that, hey, he says, you know what? I go to Duke, and I'll just wait a year. Because if you think about it, go to my Manhattan Hockey here, Eric Lindros. He was going to be the number 1 overall pick by the Quebec Nordics. Was made the number 1 pick, but he said, I'm not going. So what does he do?
We've seen it several times.
Right. He goes and plays for the Canadian Olympic, for the Team Canada for the Olympics in 92, sits out a year, and then what happens? He gets traded and goes to Philly. Yeah. And it was the right career move because look at what his career was. It was pretty good.
Outstanding.
I mean, future Hall of Famer, I'd have to say.
Also, Eli Manning.
Eli Manning. John Elway. They all made the decision to say, hey, I was the number 1 pick, but you know what? I don't want to go there. So Zion could do the exact same thing. And especially in the NBA where it's the individual that gets put, that is more times heightened because hockey and football, what is it? It's a lot about the team.
Yeah.
It's a lot about the team. For basketball, because it's a small roster, the individual comes up. So for Zion, he could easily say, thanks, but no thanks. I'll take a year off. I'll go play for Popovich on the world team, and I'll just wait. And I think that would be a smart move for him. So Pelicans, you have to make the decision. Do you want to draft Zion, or do you want to trade the pick? Or honestly, I would even say, look at Ja Morant. Take the kid.
Shock the world.
Exactly.
Because then I wonder if people would not take Zion. What if the Grizzlies don't take Zion?
Are you saying if
like
he
a
drops,
draft day thing?
If he drops to 3,
but think about
Knicks fans will lose their mind.
But think about it. If he has
it's a fair question. It is.
The Pelicans think that he can't handle it, or they don't want him because they know he doesn't want to be there,
right?
And skip on him and take Ja Morant, or even they take A.J. Barrett
or
R.J. Barrett,
yeah.
And then the Grizzlies go, well, wait. Well, they either took our guy or they took R.J. Barrett.
Right.
Zion's there. Do we take him?
Right.
They gotta sense something's wrong with them. So then they don't take him, and the Knicks go, wait now.
Yeah.
This is the guy we wanted, but 2 teams have passed over on him.
Right. What do they know that we don't know?
Like, what if he falls to 7? What if he falls to 8?
Oh my God! If he falls to 7, jeez, this city will explode.
But what if we don't take him because of that? Like.
That's a good point, though. I mean, what happens if he does fall in the draft? What if – because here's the thing, and I know people are going to call me crazy. I know people have already called me crazy. Chris already called me out on it. With Ja Morant, I like him because in the NBA now, I mean, I know, and somebody pointed this out too. Well, look at all the forwards that are so good, right? LeBron and Kevin Durant and Kawhi and Giannis. That's true. But look at every team right now that's kind of really been doing well in the playoffs. Everybody has a good guard, right? There's so many good guards out there. Levine, Curry, Thompson, right? Lillard, McCollum. There's De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield. There's so many guys that are either up and coming or are already here as star guards, right? James Harden. I mean, we can go on and on and on. The point is that you want to have a dominant point guard or a dominant shooting guard. You want to have good guards that can play because that's what the game's centered around. So what stops New Orleans from saying, hey, Ja's the guy? Because of Zion, like you said, maybe Zion doesn't want to go. Maybe they see Ja Morant and say, hey, you know what, put him with Drew Holiday. Anthony Davis might want to stay. Maybe we got a playoff team.
Yeah.
Maybe
they
we got
missed the playoffs by much.
No, they weren't far off. They were still in the hunt when they were 30 and 37. They were still there. So there's a possibility that the whole draft could get shaken up. Now, do I think that's going to happen?
I want to see it.
I would beg them to please do it. I don't think that's going to happen because I think everybody's too sold on this kid, which I will say
Another question, what if he goes back and then all of a sudden Ja Morant's like, I want to go back.
Oh, so you're thinking that all of a sudden everybody starts to tail back to the you know what?
If they haven't signed an agent yet, they can go back.
Honestly, well, here's what I'll say. I think for Ja Morant, I think he's like, okay, I spent 2 years in college. I think he wants to come out because let's say Zion does go back, because he already knows then at that point he's moving up to the number one guy. Mm-hmm. And I think he knows this was probably I obviously next year he could have a better year in college for sure. He's that kind of player. But I think he looks at it and like, look, I can maximize my profit. Everybody sees me as a top point guard now. It's win or go home. But that's a good point because then all of a sudden R.J. Barrett moves up, and there's been a lot of talk on. He's very back and forth. There's people that say, "Oh, I like R.J. Barrett," and there's other people that say, "I don't like him." And I mean, there's so much back and forth on them. It's possible. I will say Cam Reddish should go back to college, but he's not going to listen to me. Obviously, please don't take him at 7 Bulls. I'm begging you. But honestly, this whole thing. I really think the reason why Zion is getting so much hype, though, is because of the way that he looks, all right? I get the stats are there. I get the plays there and stuff, but let's be honest. I mean, and think about this, too, Tom. And I mean, tell me what you would think about this, right? He's 6'7", 285, right? Now, that's everything we've seen from this kid at that size, even you'd have to say you're pretty amazed with that, yes? Would you say?
16, 17, 18-year-olds?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm impressed for that age group.
He's a man among boys, you know. I mean,
I'm not impressed. Let's see how he does against the big boys.
Exactly. But, I mean, for his size, for what he's doing, would you say you're impressed? You like what you see?
I mean, a little bit. I think there's a little bit of a flaw. I think there is something in his game that will be exposed once he makes the NBA. And I'll be the first one to be like, told you guys.
Right,
I told you he's not going to pan out.
Right.
And I think he's pushing his body too hard. I think he's too acrobatic.
Okay.
A little bit that
he's trying a little too much.
I could see another D Rose.
Yeah. Jeez.
Maybe not as severe, but I think one injury and he's a bust.
That's possible. It's very possible. Now, I mean, I'm just wondering because I look at him and say 6'7", 285, the athleticism, all that stuff is there. That's why everybody is so enamored with this kid. But you put him, let's say, on a 6'9", 230. Let's put him on LeBron's frame, right? Mm-hmm. Put him on Ben Simmons, who's 6'10", 230. Mm-hmm. Is he just as polarizing because of that? Say he does everything in college, but he's just on a different body type. Is he just as polarizing? Because I feel like if I saw him on that body frame of LeBron's or Ben Simmons, I would just be like, well, he's supposed to do that. He's a big power forward. The reason why he looks so good is because he's the size of a shooting guard.
Exactly.
And he's about as heavy as a center, and he's doing things that he shouldn't be doing.
Exactly.
So that's what makes
what makes him such a great – everybody's like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
But again, you said it right. If he looked like a normal basketball player or a normal forward or a normal
if he
guard,
looked like a power forward.
He'd be like, exactly. Just what he is. But he doesn't look like that. He looks different.
Right.
And everybody goes, oh, well, he could be a guard. He could be a forward. He could be this. He could be that. He could do this. He could do that. He could be a center and hit threes. When we want to go small, he can be out there playing center. Yeah. I'm like, you're just getting way too ahead of yourself. The kid hasn't even played a second in the NBA.
Exactly.
And you're going to assume he can do everything.
Yeah. I mean, and you brought up the good thing, the other thing too that, I'm glad you brought it up too. Everybody said he's a man amongst boys. He's a man amongst boys. He's a man amongst boys. Well, yeah, he's a man amongst boys because he probably should have gone to the NBA out of high school. I mean, let's be for real.
But again,
he's
what if
playing
he didn't
different.
pan out?
Well,
if he wanted to play some good competition instead of going to college, he could have gone overseas.
Right. Or he could have gone to the G League or something like that. I'm sure they would have worked out something. Yeah, I
would have gone overseas.
But even still, you're playing against kids. You're playing against boys. Mm-hmm. That's why he's a man amongst boys, let's be honest. Because he's playing against children. Yeah. So, I mean, look, obviously there's a lot more names on here. I wish we could pour through these, but clearly the top two. I mean, you called it. We were probably only going to get stuck on the top two. And mostly because these two guys are probably the most enamoring because everybody's saying it's a 3-player draft. I disagree with that. I think it's only a 2-player draft, and everybody else is just peanuts, unfortunately. I think R.J. Barrett's going to be a guy coming off the bench. Darius Garland got hurt. I think he's going to re-injure himself again. DeAndre Hunter, I don't know if he can shoot. Jarrett Culver, I think, is going to struggle.
Real quick before we get out of this. I got Washington Post, Ben Golliver. This was May 17th, so yesterday. Yeah. Mock draft. So, number 1, Zion. Number 2, Ja Morant. Yep. Number 3, R.J. Barrett. Number 4, Darius Garland. Number 5, the Cavs will get Jarrett Culver, Texas Tech. Number 6, DeAndre Hunter. Number 7, the Bulls. They have them projected at Kobe White.
Yes, please.
Number 8, the Hawks, Brandon Clark. I don't know if it's Clark-E or Clark.
No, yeah, you're right. Brandon Clark.
Number 9, Cam Reddish to the Wizards. 10 is Atlanta. It's from Dallas. Jackson Hayes.
Okay.
Timberwolves at 11, Romeo Langford.
Yeah.
Charlotte at 12, Nasir Little. The Heat at 13, Rui Hachimura. Someone who I actually like out of Gonzaga.
Oh, Rui Hachimura?
Yeah, but I think he would be a reach at 7.
He would be a reach at 7.
But I'd be okay with it.
No, I would too. He's a 6'8", 235, big body, 25 points, 8 rebounds. You want to say, I'll say it. He looks like a mini Giannis. He looks like a mini Giannis. I mean, and you can see what Giannis is doing right now.
And this just has top 14. The 14th, Boston Celtics from Sacramento, Bol.
Bol, really?
Bol, yeah.
Okay. Which, by the way, I heard Bol did terrible in his workouts, but Taco Fall is killing it right now in his workouts. Which, if you guys don't know who Taco Fall is, he's the 7'7", 290-pound center from UCF that almost beat the Duke Blue Devils. So, and by the way, if he falls to the second round like he's supposed to, Bulls,
how about just
consider
7?
Really shock the world?
Yeah, just shock the world.
I want Kobe White, though. I want Kobe White and Taco Fall. Can we do that? Can we get Kobe White and Taco Fall? Is that asking too much? Get the two guys.
Nah, trade the Pelicans for the number 1 overall pick and take Taco Falls and just shock the world.
Now you're talking crazy nonsense, and I love it, Tom.
Why not? Shock the world.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, coming up next here soon, me and Tom are going to be getting into it on the NHL and what's going on with the media in terms of talking hockey. And, of course, then, too, we'll round it out with a little bit more fun on that side, talking about some nicknames in sports. Don't go anywhere because we'll be right back here on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll just put a quarter in the swear jar. Once it's filled, we get a Coors party after work.
I've been drinking Coors since my college days. The cold draft taste is second to none.
Yeah, worth every quarter, am I right?
You know it, mother.
Hey, you get those reports done?
Yeah.
No. You, sir.
Attention, employees.
The staff meeting, scheduled for this evening, will now be held tomorrow early as
Who's all? Dudes, we're only 75 cents short. Up. Shh. The boss.
Hey, sir. Go yourself.
You're fired!
hungry and I need somewhere to eat fast. I have no idea where to go.
Psst. Hola, me llamo El Taco de Taco. You know where to go for the amazing taste that'll have you craving more? Taco Bell.
Can I get 20 tacos, please?
You got it.
Thanks, Taco.
De nada.
Good. That's it. Eat the tacos.
Taco Bell. Live más.
Man, are you still working out? It's like 1,000 degrees.
Intense heat is nothing. To get an intense workout, you gotta be intense.
Our friend here is getting an intense workout with the intense cool of his Hydrotech Cool Breeze shoes, which brings your feet a cooling sensation that is the best on the market today. Can only be explained with one word.
Intense!
Whether you're working out hard or just taking a stroll, these shoes have got your back, or I should say, your feet.
Aren't these shoes intense?
Maybe a little too intense, but there's no doubt they're cool.
Welcome back, everybody, here to the X-Bum Sports Live Show. I'm Rick, and next to me, of course, is still Tom. Tom, how you doing?
I'm scared.
So am I. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. A gas bubble hit me there on the way into this one. If you guys are just joining us, we just talked about the NBA. We poured over the LA coaching situation, and we went through what I thought was going to be a long segment for the NBA draft, but we were only able to really hit the top 2 picks. But we had a good discussion. Oh, God, it almost hit me again.
Dying.
I'm dying here. On Zion Williamson and John Morant, and we were able to get off a few others. So, yeah, that was the first half, and now for the second half, a little bit of a warning here again, ladies and gentlemen. This could get intense. This could get very intense. So, hopefully somebody doesn't jump over the table and choke me to death, but we'll see what happens here. It might make for – everything makes for good TV, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be honest. All right, Tom, you ready to do this?
I guess.
All right. Well, the first thing we're going to get into here, which is going to round out most of this second half, is I got a question years ago from a fan of my blog thing called the AJ Valentin Spitting Out Sports.
His shirts look like Donald Trump on it.
Yes. I've worn the shirt multiple times. I'm also wearing the glasses that say the name on it, if you haven't noticed. And I've done some stories on there about hockey, and I got a question a long time ago that I wish I would have answered, and I wish I would have done an article on, but I was young and I was stupid at the time. It came from a man by the name of Frank from Fort Collins in Colorado, and he had asked me why he thought that why is it that there's not more stories about hockey in the media, right? I mean, you look at ESPN, you look at FS1, you look at CBS Sports, right? NBC probably does the most coverage on it, but those other ones, the other ones, unfortunately, don't do a lot of coverage when it comes to the hockey stories.
CBS Sports does a little bit.
CBS Sports does a little bit more. Yes,
they have college hockey,
but there's never really like the big stories. Like you don't see First Take and like The Herd or any of these shows out there, right? Talking about these kind of things. Every now and then they mention it maybe a little bit, but it's not really a big mention.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
First Take. What would you say their big expertise is?
Their big expertise?
Yeah.
Oh,
Stephen A.
man.
Smith. What do you think he's well-rounded in the most?
I think he's most well-rounded. Well, that's tough because I can't say football because he keeps making mistakes in football. He keeps saying guys are on the roster when they're not. So I would say I think it's basketball, and a lot of that.
Exactly.
I think that's where
Max
it stands.
Kellerman. Yeah. Where do you think his expertise is?
I mean, his expertise really stems in boxing, but outside of that, I would say
in the 4 major sports.
In the four major sports, I think Kellerman kind of splits the deal between the NFL and basketball, I would say.
And on the other show on FS1 with
Undisputed.
Yeah, Undisputed with Skip Bayless.
Skip, I'll say this: Skip's pretty well rounded in all the sports. I think he's done his own.
Where's his
he's
bigger
mostly
expertise
football He's mostly football, with basketball being kind of nicked between
And
Shannon's football for the most part.
Exactly.
But he's also, I would say this, he's also very well rounded too.
exactly.
They're both very well rounded.
But
they have their own expertise.
You basically have 4 guys on 2 different shows that are
Right.
well-rounded in just really basketball and football.
Right.
They're not well-rounded in baseball as much.
Yeah.
They're not well-rounded in hockey, and hence why ESPN is not going to talk hockey as much. They give Barry Melrose 2 minutes.
Yeah.
They give I don't think they even talk about hockey on FS1. That was a big thing.
They seldomly do.
Yeah, they do the same thing basically.
Yeah.
CBS Sports does a little bit now. CBS itself doesn't show hockey games. ESPN tried to show hockey with the Worlds.
Right.
But that was such a train wreck.
Yeah. Their shots were messy and everything. I watched a few of those games.
It was just hard to watch.
Yeah.
On top of that, USA was terrible.
Well, yeah. And by the way, too, just so everybody understands, anything I say and anything Tom says, we're not trying to get under people's skin and bash anything. This is but this is just honest to God, like how I'm feeling and how he's feeling.
And we know how I feel.
Right.
Now let me say this. ESPN and ABC used to show hockey.
Right.
They
Yes,
used
they
to
did.
have hockey. They used to have, I think it was like Saturday night before NBC took it over.
Mhm.
Now I hate NBC. I think they're terrible. They don't know how to run the Olympics. They don't know how to run hockey. They throw hockey games on Golf Channel. Why? Baffles me. You have USA, you have NBC, you have CNBC.
Right.
Take Shark Tank off for about 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not gonna miss Shark Tank. I can't. But
Yeah.
you can miss some golf thing. That's a sport. Why would you interfere one sport with another sport? Now I understand if you need to cut, if a game is overlapping on one of your channels and you need to go, Golf Network is your last resort channel.
Right.
Then that's fine. But to go from not having any games on CNBC or MSNBC and just going USA, which is fine.
Yeah.
USA, NBC, NBCSN, and golf.
Right.
Why?
Oh yeah, that's it's a good question.
ESPN, there's still a man called LeBron James playing, so they'll never talk about hockey at all while he's playing, and then they'll find someone else to talk about, which will be Zion. Hence why when
Yeah.
I mean, look at it. They
Yeah.
don't really talk baseball.
Right.
Yes, they have the Sunday Night Crew, but
And
they
they have-
know where I stand on that. And
Yeah.
they have baseball tonight.
And attentional talk is always good. I like Kevin Millar and
No, that's MLB Network.
Oh, is that MLB
Yeah, it's
Network
MLB
now?
Network. It's always been
Oh.
MLB Network.
Okay.
But Barry Melrose works for the NHL Network. He works for ESPN.
Right.
But he gets 2 minutes on ESPN every night.
Yeah.
He'll cover all the college hockey games that are on there. But NBC, as much as I hate how they do their broadcasts, by cutting out the anthems and stuff like that. Now
Yeah.
they've gotten better with it after backlash with Chicago.
Right.
They fixed it, but still, they show Notre Dame hockey games when on Friday and Saturday nights, even Sunday nights. They show, which is just says testaments to Notre Dame having NBC take another sport in.
Yeah.
They show all the games. And then after football season ends, they have Sunday hockey at matinee hockey, 3:00. Depending on, they also have Wednesday night hockey night. Used to be Wednesday night rivalry night. But they sort of got away with trying to push rivalries because it was sort of stupid. A lot of their rivalries didn't make sense, and I didn't understand them. But I don't know. Maybe hockey will start to get talked about a little bit more, seeing that the mouse is taking over Hulu as well.
Yeah, yes.
And will eventually take over the world. I'm personally a little scared. I think it'll be fun to work for the mouse, but at the same time scary because I might have to smile all the time.
If they still own the Mighty Ducks, we might. Who knows?
They don't.
No, I know they don't, but I'm saying if they did, they.
But that was the reason why ESPN had hockey.
Right.
Is because Disney owned the Mighty Ducks.
Right.
And I think it's a travesty that they don't talk about it more. It is the best sport out there. Playoffs are way more exciting than the NBA. Now everybody's like, oh, what are you talking about? The last 2 rounds have been exciting. Who won? The Warriors won. We knew that was going to happen. Portland won. That was an exciting series. Not really, though. Philly, Toronto, that was a toss-up. It was an exciting ending. The only shocker was Boston losing. Okay, this round, Portland's getting stomped. The other series, it's whoever wants to lose in the finals.
Right.
Okay, hockey. None of the conference championship or division champions are in the playoffs right now.
Right.
You have the St. Louis Blues, who starting 2019, 2019, January 1st, while I was in South Bend, Indiana, watching Boston, the Bruins versus the Blackhawks at Notre Dame Stadium.
Yeah.
The Blues, St. Louis Blues, were dead last. You just had the Carolina Hurricanes, who beat the defending champs, the Washington Capitals, then swept the Islanders. Thank God. Yes, they did just get swept, but we're in the Eastern Conference Finals. You have the San Jose Sharks, which is a, in quotes, most people don't think a hockey market. It is a huge hockey market. In the Western Conference Finals, once again, you have the Bruins, our original 6 team that gives you a set from the heydays of that time.
Right.
In now the Stanley Cup Finals after they swept the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah.
You had the team who had the most points, who won 62 games out of 82, get swept by the Columbus Blue Jackets, who then went on and lost to the Bruins in the second round. You had Toronto-Boston, again, for the third time in like 4 years.
Yeah.
The Bruins know how to beat the Blue Jackets. I think Toronto has a Boston problem in every sport. So for them saying that, just want to talk about basketball, and be like, oh, make it sound like these are the greatest playoffs ever. They're not.
I mean, they're good, but they're not the best I've ever seen. I
think about it this way.
Turnouts have been decent.
Think about it this way. Their top stories, Alex Correa didn't want to go to the White House. That's a big story on ESPN.
Right.
Don't hear that about the NHL because NHL players, first off, half the NHL is from either Canada, Europe, Russia, for that matter, and the U.S. Those are where they come from. Baseball is really just U.S., a couple players from Canada here and there sprinkled in, and like Mexico, Cuba, and Puerto Rico and that stuff.
A lot of South America and Central America.
Not Cuba, my bad.
Yeah.
Not a lot of Cubans. But, so you have that. They're here where they're dealing with political problems. Again, don't want to get too deep into that. But you have Canadian hockey players. You have European hockey players. You have Russian hockey players. Now, granted, Russia, whatever. Yeah. They'll go to the White House when they win a championship. When in the U.S. So the Hawks win the championship. Taze is going to the White House. Dominic Cahoon, who plays in German or is a German player, will go to the White House. You have a British player, or we have someone from Britain on our team. We'll go to the White House. Yeah. Sidney Crosby, as much as I hate the man, will go to the White House. These guys will go to the White House. They'll stand for our national anthem. We don't even play Britain's national anthem. We don't play Canada's national anthem unless we're playing a Canadian team. We don't play anybody else's national anthem except for the United States of America, and they stand for it. Yet you have basketball players, you have NFL players, and we've talked about this before, and I don't want to get too deep into it, that sit, kneel, don't want to stand for the national anthem. Yet you have people from other countries standing and respecting our flag, and we have people from the United States that don't want to respect our flag. Right. That tells you that ESPN has its morals. I'm sorry, Disney. I'm sorry, the mouse. You have your morals backwards. You need to rethink about where you put more money into. You put more money into the NHL. Hell, I'll come talk NHL for 2.5 hours. That's fine by me.
He'll do it for 6. Trust me.
I'll talk NHL all day, and your ratings will go through the roof. You'll gain more people. There is a market out there that you are losing when you don't talk hockey. The Blackhawks, in 2013, when they went on that outrageous run of not losing or getting a point every game for 20 straight games, that was also the same time as LeBron James and the Miami Heat not losing a game. And everybody's like, oh, are they going to break the Bulls' record? And then, of course, Chicago goes down there and beats them, so let's go. But the Blackhawks, Stephen A. Smith had an outrageous thing. He was asked a question, and I watched it. I watched it live because this time I was still watching ESPN a little bit, trying to figure. I wanted to hear more Hawk stuff, and obviously they're not talking about it, and that's when I finally realized hockey is not what they think it is, and it's way better of a sport than they think it is. And they're like, he was asked, which is a better streak for their sport? The Heat streak for the NBA or the Blackhawks streak for hockey? Which one is bringing the sport closer because this was just after both lockouts.
Right.
So which one is helping build the sport better?
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, the NBA by far. He said that LeBron James's Heat team streak was better than the Blackhawks' unbeaten most point streak going on because that the game is better and more exciting in the NBA than it is in hockey.
Right.
The Hawks were doing something that no team has done. They were going on a streak after a lockout. It was a shortened season, and he said that. I agree. It was a shortened season, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that team went on, won the President's Trophy, which you don't want to win in the NHL.
Yeah.
Just ask Tampa Bay and any other team or the Capitals.
Any team that's basically lost winning that thing.
Because the last team to do it was the Blackhawks.
Right.
They won the Stanley Cup in 17 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Most exciting Stanley Cup final ever. Just in that game alone.
Yeah.
And you want to say that the Blackhawks streak meant nothing to the NHL and that it's really not even newsworthy.
Right.
Which is outrageous. How can you say it's not newsworthy when they're going out on a shortened season, don't have much training camp? A lot of players have played overseas, different ice. By the way, for most people, it says... So you see this? See these? This is like the old phones. That's what the size... The old phones are what... NHL players play.
Just made the world go meta, man.
Yeah.
I'm watching. I have the show on.
I
there.
know. Sorry.
To monitor the show.
I was so confused myself too. But you have NHL players playing on smaller ice here than they do overseas. Olympic ice is so much bigger. International ice is so much bigger.
Right.
That's why when they play overseas, the U.S. doesn't do so well. Canada has Olympic-sized rinks over there up north. We really don't.
Yeah.
When we hold the Winter Olympics in Salt Lake, whatever, how many ever years ago it was, they are playing on NHL ice. They were playing in Colorado, I believe, and they were playing in Arizona.
Yes.
Yes, Arizona has a team, but look at it this way. You have 6 teams in Canada. We have a team now in Seattle, which they don't want. I mean, they'd want hockey.
Yeah.
They've wanted hockey for a while. I don't think it's going to work as well because they're too close. It's literally like 90 minutes, not even, maybe 50 minutes to Vancouver. But it gives them a chance now not to have to go and deal with passport and all that stuff, which I get. But they're getting Seattle. Basketball doesn't want to bring Seattle back. They do, but they're never going to.
Well, they can't seem to come to an agreement on it.
Basketball does not have a sport in Vegas, which was the first sport there. Hockey. They were in the Stanley Cup Finals last year, even though I said they would never be there. They have by far the second, maybe the worst commissioner in all of the 4 sports. Roger Goodell's right there, but it's still Gary Bettman.
Yeah.
There's so many newsworthy stories. Quote unquote, Patrick Kane had a point streak this year. He's killing it. You had Jonathan Toews had a great point streak. You had Sidney Crosby had a point streak. You had Connor McDavid. You had this dumpster fire that was going on in basically the house that Gretzky built.
Yeah.
In Edmonton, you had the New York Rangers not doing anything. You had Carolina, the storm surge. Let's talk about them for an hour. You don't even have to talk about them long. Just give them their time. Give them 30 minutes of live air. If you want to,
we gave him a good 12, 15 almost.
If you want to give them, talk 30 minutes about hockey, not 2 minutes, and then to have the rest of the show be baseball and basketball. Baseball gets its time. The reason why ESPN has talked baseball is because it's in the summer and there's no other sport. Yeah, they talk football here and there, but it's not that big. You want to look at it this way, you go hockey heavy because it is the most exciting sport in the world. I would love to see them go into this new lacrosse league that starts up soon, the PLL that's started by Paul Rabel. That'll be exciting if they can talk about that, but they won't. What will need to happen is someone will need to start an ESPN station like that, and an FS1 type thing, and go, all right, listen, we're gonna do basically what we're doing here. We're gonna segment this. You're gonna talk this amount about hockey. You're gonna talk about this. You're gonna talk about this, and this. Now, when games end and stuff on big games like this during playoffs, yes, you can break away from talking hockey. You can break away talking this and that and go, all right, we're going to break down this game. It just ended. Breaking news. The Golden State Warriors have won their 300th championship.
Right.
So that's fine. I have no problem with breaking away from a story.
300th championship.
Whatever.
Yeah, I get you.
I have no problem with a sports channel breaking away from a story or what they're talking about, the topic they're talking about, and going into the breaking news of a sporting a game or event like the Preakness or anything like that and saying, all right, well, hey, this happened. Let's go live. We have our reporters there. Let's get a feel. Let's talk to so-and-so, yada, yada, yada. That's fine. No problem with that. Do it. But to not give hockey its due diligence is outrageous. It's blasphemy. And honestly, that's why I don't watch ESPN. I don't watch SportsCenter that much. I only watch it when, obviously, the Cubs are playing on there and when I can watch Notre Dame.
Yeah. Now, Tom McKinney, ladies and gentlemen, eloquently well put, honestly. I think that was some of the great. I got to give you props, man. That was very good, very well articulated. Excellent job. Now, you're probably here's what I'm going to say, all right? I'm just going to give you the counterpoints on that, all right? Because these are just the things that I see with hockey. I know you're probably going to see things differently, but just hear me out when I say these, okay? First thing, I like hockey. I like to watch hockey. I don't love it. Obviously, Tom's a huge fan of it. I don't love hockey, but I do like it. I do like it because there is something about that sport. It's a combination of the aggressiveness and the tenacity of football, and also the athleticism that comes from, the game of basketball. And then you've got the sportsmanship, the kind of, it's your grandfather's type of thing that comes from baseball. That love of the old time.
You also have sportsmanship though. Hockey, greatest line in all of sports. At the end of a playoff series, they go to center ice and they shake hands. What other sports does that?
Yeah.
If football, some player doesn't like a certain play, they walk away. They don't go to the other quarterback or the other coach's team and shake their hands. He walks away to the locker room.
Right.
NBA, they do the same thing. They'll go up to him, give him a hug, yada, yada, yada. But it's not the elegance of what we were taught as little leaguers or any other sport growing up. You go and shake the other team's hand. No one ever shakes everybody's hand.
Right.
The NHL does it right. They've done it forever. Yeah. Is that they go and they have to shake everybody's hand. Right. Everybody wants to bash Chara because he was out for Game 4 and that he came out and celebrated with the team. They do that. He was out with an undisclosed injury. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what it was. Yes, he was in full uniform, but he's not going to be in a suit on the ice.
Right.
That wouldn't look right. He wants to be with his teammates. He wants to be on the ice in uniform.
Yeah.
That's fine by me. Who cares? That's not a story.
Right. And look, the NHL has all that, and it has all that stuff. And I do like to watch it. I mean, I think when it comes to the playoffs, they do have some of the most exciting playoffs I've ever seen. I mean, I know the NBA for some reason seems to trump it a lot of times, but I do believe that they think the NHL sometimes it definitely does have sometimes the better outcomes.
It's not chalk.
Yeah.
NHL is not chalk in the playoffs. NBA is chalk. For that, I mean, you look at a bracket, it's usually you know who's going to win. First off here, you don't know who's going to win in the NHL Game 1 of the regular season. You basically know the two teams most likely in the championship for the NBA.
The NHL is a little bit of a different monster in that regard. But what I see from the NHL, or rather what I see from hockey, I'm going to say as hockey in general, why I think the media, there's a bunch of reasons I think why the media doesn't really give it its due diligence, and why it doesn't get more love from the media, why maybe even more people don't give it more love. One of the big things I think that hurts hockey a lot is the fact that it's not an American sport. I mean, and
all your teams are basically in the U.S.
No, and that's true. That's very true. But we have to remember that, because you think football, it's an American sport. Baseball, American sport. America's pastime, right? Basketball, it's an American sport. Hockey, while U.S. certainly does have a dominant figure over it, no doubt, it is still Canada's sport. We adopted it. You know, it's the same thing that I wish more people would be into soccer. And there's a huge soccer basis in the U.S., don't get me wrong. But there's a reason why you don't hear more about the MLS and U.S. soccer, really, until the World Cup comes around.
But you're starting to hear a lot more MLS because you have Zinedine Zidane.
Have a lot of these
Ibrahimovic, you have Wayne Rooney.
Right.
I mean,
international stars are coming to here.
I want Ronaldo. Yeah, I just want Ronaldo.
That would be nice.
I don't want Messi. I want Ronaldo.
Come to the Fire. They're moving soon.
Where?
I don't remember where, but they're getting out of their lease with Toyota Park.
Oh, okay.
So
they're not leaving Chicago, though.
No, they're not leaving, but they're leaving their stadium. So they'll go to somewhere nicer, hopefully. But I see that, and I just and it's just, but it's something with America where it's like, you know, it's a pride of the country. You invented the sport, all that stuff, and it's just the love that you grew up with baseball, you grew up with football, you grew up with basketball.
They look at it as a rich man sport.
Right. Hockey, you grow up. Well, that's the thing too. It's a very expensive sport. Now, there are more. I'll say this: there are more kids now pouring into hockey because there are less kids playing football and baseball and basketball. So there is a growth in youth hockey now,
which is dropping though.
Which is dropping now.
Yeah, because of.
Oh yes,
football,
because of the concussions
and the
stuff.
Hawks haven't been relevant. That's what brought the insurgent here in Chicago, at least.
Right.
Is hockey was big. It'll get back there.
Yeah, I mean, every sport eventually does see a growth at some point in time, but I just see it, and I just think if it were an American sport, if it would have generated here, hockey would probably be huge. It would probably be right. It would probably be right there generating with the NBA. Maybe it would be number 2, but because it's a sport that we adopted from another country. A lot of people are kind of like, it's from Canada. You try to understand, some people don't understand it. It's not the hardest.
It's easier to understand more than rugby or cricket.
Yeah, true. Cricket's a very hard one. But it's that thing of like, if it's not from our country and we haven't grown up with it, I think it's harder for people to understand. It's not to say they don't like it, but I think it's just something where it's like we grew up with football and baseball and basketball being a part of the American culture. Hockey, well, yes, being a part of the American culture now, like me and Tom have grown up with it as a part of the American culture, no doubt. But it is still kind of seen as like, well, it's Canada's game, though. Another thing
it's not, though. They haven't won a Stanley.
Yeah. But another thing I think that hurts them, too, is what you were saying. It's considered a rich man sport. And let's get real, it's considered a white man sport. Right, I mean there are
diversity now coming in.
There is more diversity coming in now. Don't get me wrong. There are plenty. You see more black players. You see some Latino players. You see a lot of guys, but a majority of the guys are white.
Yeah,
and that's just the game has been like that for a long time, right? And it's just something that I think hurts the game because if there were more diversity into it. Then I think there would be more kids that would look at it and say, I see somebody in there.
Here's something else that you got to look at.
Right.
There is now a small little hockey league in like Nicaragua or some. It's like
true.
a small African.
Yes.
Maybe it's Cameroon.
I believe it's Cameroon.
They play in China every year.
True.
They're
getting more.
The Kings have a development league in China.
Right.
So, I mean, China wants the Olympics when they get the Winter Olympics. They want their own hockey team, men's and women's, and they're looking to a lot of the Chinese Americans to come over, and they're looking for their dual citizenship so that they could play.
Absolutely,
they're begging with the NHL to allow their players to play in the Olympics because it would help. That's where it sort of hurts is you don't have the big market because you're not letting your players go play in the Olympics. Right. Now I understand the Summer Olympics with basketball is a little different, but I don't care if you don't have an All-Star weekend. I want to see Patrick Kane and Team USA scoring goals.
I mean, it helps give you the international spread of the game, and then you would be able to kind of show these other countries out there and these other continents even, right? I mean, think about it. South America, I know it's hot down there, but you think, I mean, some of them have
Texas and Florida.
Right. I mean, well, because I heard there was a businessman in Rio de Janeiro who was saying that he would maybe like to bring hockey to Brazil because he says that there are some because he sees there's some kids that handle sticks down there that play the game because, sometimes the hockey games do get outsourced to Brazil depending if you're, getting however you get it is however you get it. I don't know how they get it in Brazil. But he said he would be interested in finding a group that would help him build a hockey rink and potentially get a youth league started.
Let's go.
I mean, who knows? And that would be great for the game. But I think because of that lack of diversity, again, there is diversity in hockey, but it is so minimal. It's so minimal that it's hard to connect. And also, too, the same thing with that. It's like, you see, in Chicago, there's a football field, there's a basketball court, there's a baseball field all around us, right?
Yeah.
Hockey rinks, it's only the wintertime you really see them, or you have to go to the indoor rinks and there's a lot of them. There's no doubt there's a lot of them. But if you would see them more in some of those areas where it is
they're starting
diverse,
to get there. They're
starting to get there. But if you saw them in a more diverse area, that would bring more players from other, walks of life into the game. And then you'd have more kids saying, you know what, I could play ball just like anybody else, but I could play hockey. I could play baseball or stuff. It helps to it helps to spread the game out more. And then, like you said, you've got the team in Cameroon. You've got potentially a team maybe that'll be in Brazil. You've got so many other countries.
South Korea.
Right. Who knows? I mean, maybe even North Korea. Kim Jong-un plays on the team. I don't know.
It'll look like Vladimir Putin playing hockey.
Exactly. Score 10 goals or something. Another thing I think, too, that also hurts hockey, too, and it's the superstars. Now, I'm not saying that the superstars are big. Look, Alex Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby. To me, I think those guys right now, I believe I would say they're in the top echelon as superstars. Patrick Kane, I think, is up there, too. But I think those guys are more centric to the area. You know what I mean? Like, they're more known locally. If you put, like, the thing I always look at it and I say, put an athlete in regular clothes, have him walk down the street, and see if people could recognize him. Here in Chicago, we could probably recognize Patrick Kane in regular clothing like that.
Well, yeah.
Jonathan Toews, like that.
But I could do the same thing with Ovechkin. I could do the same thing with Crosby, McDavid.
Let's say you go to the average person, you put them, like, let's say Nebraska, right? Lincoln, Nebraska or something, right? Go to the average person, have them walk down the street. I find it hard to believe that they would know. Maybe they would. But it's hard to look at those guys and say, walking down the street, I would notice them right away. I would notice them now because I've seen their faces a lot. But to the average person, they might not see that. Whereas, I mean, look, LeBron's kind of a hard one because he's 6'9", right? He kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. But you see his face a lot.
Yeah.
You see the face of Kobe. You see the face of Jordan. You know what those guys look like. You know what Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. You know what Bryce Harper and Mike Trout look like. But if you saw the hockey players at first glance, you might not recognize them unless you saw them more locally, or unless you're like a true hockey fan, or you've watched a lot of NHL games, or you just know who they are maybe off the bat. I don't know. But and there's more points to be made on this for sure. But I'm hoping there will be more talk on the NHL. That's why on this show, I trust me, I hate sometimes, and he hates me sometimes for not talking more hockey. I know. But I want to get more into that, as I want to do with more sports out there, because there's so much more to talk. So, and as time moves on, hopefully we'll catch more with it. It's just when I see those things, it's hard to gravitate to them because, like, with the NBA, you have guys that say outrageous things and you have crazy things that happen. NHL, you have outrageous things said and guys say and do crazy things. NHL,
they're not selfish.
But that's the thing, though, is like for the media's sake, the NHL, it's a very pure game. These guys are really respectful, but then it makes it very hard for the media to talk about it because it's like, well, they didn't do really anything too drastic and they didn't really say anything too controversial, so it's hard to kind of – because it's not like Odell Beckham Jr. who's like, we're the new Patriots. If I heard like Sidney Crosby say, I'm the new Wayne Gretzky, well, then I'd be like, well, let's talk about that for a good 10, 15 minutes because he's obviously on something.
But I also don't think Gretzky was the great one.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's the other thing too is like the media style, the way that you can sell these superstars. The NHL does a terrible job selling these superstars, I think. Right? Wayne Gretzky was the only guy I've actually seen do national commercials. I've seen some with Ovechkin, I've seen some with Crosby, but it's been so limited that how can anybody recognize these guys as wholesome names if you're not putting them like on the cereal box or stuff like that? Because Gretzky did everything. Yeah. He did everything. And then, of course, he moved to L.A. where he was in the center and the mecca of everything. But I'm just saying that the NHL needs to start doing more to help. If they want to hear more of the media, if we want to hear more of the media, we're going to do our part. Mm-hmm. But then the NHL has to do its part by helping to sell the superstars and help these guys get the big stories.
Mm-hmm.
So,
amen.
I just want to round that out, man. Hey, NHL, we got your back. We love you.
I'm looking for a job.
Yeah, all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to round this one out really quickly. I'm going to give Tom a quick quiz before we get out of here. I hope you're ready for this, man. It is the X-Bomb Quiz Down nickname game. So I'm going to list off a nickname. Tom has to tell me the nickname of these guys. Some of them are easy. Some of them are pretty hard. I don't know how you'll do, but we'll give you a few minutes here. You think you're going to be able to nail some of these?
Yeah, I hope so, dude. It's 7-7 right now. Notre Dame Duke in the third.
So you're just like in the panic mode right now.
Oh, I'm so sick and tired of Duke.
The way you put your shirt up,
I'm so sick and tired of Duke.
All right, you ready to do this,
man?
Yeah,
let's go.
All right, let's get it started. Salt in the SWAT.
That's Babe Ruth.
All right, the Big Hurt.
That's Big Hurt. Oh, that's Frank Thomas.
Okay, Big Mac.
I'm not sure about that one. I feel like I know it, and you're gonna say it, and I'm gonna be really mad at myself.
It's
Mark McGuire. Yeah, see, I knew I was gonna be really mad at myself.
All right, the Big Unit.
That's Randy Johnson.
All right, Charlie Hustle. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen. You want to pass? Or?
Yeah.
All right, that's Pete Rose.
All right,
the Crime Dog.
Oh my God, Fred McGriff.
Yes. All right, Dice K.
That's that's I know it's a Japanese player.
Yeah.
Datsuke Matsui.
Close enough. Matsuzaka.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you were close. El Duque. Pass. Orlando Hernandez.
All right.
The Flying Dutchman.
Oh my God.
These aren't all baseball, by the way. There's
I know.
a bunch in here.
I know that one.
It starts with baseball, so I'll give you most of
I've
these.
heard that one. I can't think of it though.
Old school player, legend, Hall of Famer.
I don't know.
It's Honus Wagner.
All
right. The Hawk. You should know this
that
one.
Hawk Harrelson?
No.
Oh.
That's not. That's not. Pass or
yeah.
That's Andre Dawson.
Damn it.
The Iron Horse.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get that one.
Lou Gehrig. The Iron Man.
Is that?
It's Hall of Famer.
What sport?
Baseball. This is. It starts with baseball. These are all gonna be baseball for you.
I can't think of that one.
Can't think of that one. All right. It's Cal Ripken Jr. K-Rod.
A-Rod.
No. K-Rod.
K-Rod. That's
Right last name, but first name.
I can't think of the first name. Kenny Rodriguez? No. No, it's not Francisco. I can't think of it.
He's right. It's Francisco Rodriguez. All right, Mad Dog.
Oh, that's Mad Bum.
Come on, man.
Can't think of Mad Dog.
You know him.
I know him too. Stop it. I can't think of it.
He played for your team.
Just tell me.
Greg Maddox.
Yeah, I knew
All
it.
right, you should get this one, Mr. Cub.
Oh, that's Ernie Banks.
There you go.
All day, every
All
day.
right, Mr. October.
Reggie Jackson.
Yep. The Rocket.
Oh my God.
Pitcher.
Oh no. Is it Nolan? It's not Nolan Ryan.
Almost considered as good a pitcher.
It's not Kurt Schilling.
No.
It's not Nolan Ryan.
What are you thinking?
I can't think of his name.
Pass.
Is it
You want to give a guess?
Is it the other steroids guy? Roger Clemens.
There you go, Roger Clemens. The other steroids guy. The Say Hey Kid.
Oh, that's it's not Jay Hay, because that's Jay Hay. I can't think of it.
It was an old school baseball player.
I know, I can't think of it.
Played back in the day in New York.
Is it Willie Mays?
There you go, Willie Mays, baby. The Thrill.
I don't know that one.
Will Clark.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, that's Ozzie Smith.
There you go, baby. All right, okay, I'll give you this list because there's a long list. So now we're in basketball, right? The Admiral.
Oh, that's a former Notre Dame son. That's David Robertson.
There you go. All right, Agent Zero.
No idea.
Gets Gilbert Arenas because he wore number 0.
I don't know.
All right, The Answer.
I have no idea.
You've heard it before.
I have, but I don't.
It's Allen Iverson.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, Basketball Jesus.
I'm gonna go Dennis Rodman.
Larry Bird.
Oh, okay. It just sounds like Dennis.
I didn't even know that.
It sounds like something Dennis
All
Rodman
right,
would have.
Big Nasty.
I'm gonna go Dennis Rodman there.
No, it's Corliss Williamson. No one would ever get that.
Yeah.
All right, the Black Mamba. That's an easy one.
Is that what's that guy's name? Oh no, that was White Mamba. I'm
Shut
gonna
up.
go Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant. You are correct. All right, Chief.
I don't know.
Robert Parrish.
All
All right, and the last one, Diesel.
Oh, Shaq.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the name down. Tom, you did pretty good, man. Not too bad. Not too bad.
There's a lot of names.
There were a lot.
There's a lot
names.
of them I knew, and I just couldn't think of them.
There's trust me, dude. There's a lot more. We've got football, boxing. I'm gonna save the rest of these for another time because this was fun. I like doing this. I can't. Some of those I'm like, you should be getting this.
I should be, but I couldn't think of the names.
Couldn't even get Lou Gehrig and Honus Wagner. That kind of hurt.
couldn't think of the
Hey, you're
name.
good, man. Did a good job, buddy. You did a good job. Well, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it for our show here. Tom, where can they find you, my man?
McLovin6193 on Instagram and Twitter.
There you go. And you guys can find me on Twitter at The Fluffy Guru. You guys can follow me on Instagram as well at Boom Crew Captain. Go to our Facebook page at XBomb Sports. Go like us there. Shout out to all our videos. Look at all our original videos. You can find the first 2 seasons on there as well. You also want to go to our Twitter at XBomb Sports. Make sure to go follow us there. We're posting stuff up all the time. You can find the show links all the time. We're going to be putting up more media and stuff like that. Make sure to go follow us on Instagram as well. We also post the shows and the media there too. Also, don't forget, putting up points, ladies and gentlemen. They come on Saturday, 11-1. Every time before us, it's Jake Bradley and Tyler Prickett. Make sure to go check them out, guys. They did a fantastic job for their second show here today. Will you give them some love? Our producer, Jake Bradley, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to go show him some love. Go see Putting Up Points. We're going to be posting it on the X-Bomb Sports Facebook page, so you guys can go check it out. On SportsTownChicago.com, make sure to go give him some love. And, guys, the YouTube page here, X-Bomb Productions. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on all the videos. Make sure to show us all the love possible. And I think that's all the social media for us. And make sure to go check out the Respawn Cast. Every Tuesday and Friday, they are streaming from twitch.tv. From every Tuesday, did I say every Tuesday?
Yeah, you
Friday?
did.
Okay, yeah. Every Tuesday and Friday, twitch.tv. Kevin, Kat, and Shaq, they'll be streaming live from Studio One, the other studio that we got here at the Illinois Media School. Thank you to the Illinois Media School for helping us out. And I think that is it, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll see you guys next week on Wednesday. And, of course, we'll be out Saturday. But we'll be here on Wednesday talking about more nonsense on sports right here on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. Thank God. Much love. Peace out, Boom Crew.